Yep, shouldn't have played that much of it, but that's how we do it. Yeah, yeah. That's how we do it. I'm in now, ready to do this thing. Yep. Talk a little bit about this boxing. You guys never get tired of boxing, so let's get on that boxing talk a little bit. Um, I'm hearing a lot of different stories about um, the whole AJ and Ruiz fight. So just different opinions, and I don't know. We want to look at these things as being credible sources, but then a lot of time, and then at the same time, they may not be, credible sources, but I have to look at them as being, credible sources. Brandon Dixon, what's good with you? I see you, Shadow 9. Shadow 9 in the house. Yeah, yeah. That Shadow 9, he comes around. That Shadow 9, he comes around. Yeah, but we look at this, uh, the one thing that we're looking at is this Saudi. We look at if Saudi Arabia is real when it comes with the AJ fight, and it's not like out of the picture though, because like, if you think about it, there's some money over there. They got a lot of them Saudis got a lot of money, and it might sound far fetched to us, but when you're dealing with somebody like Hearns and others, it could be some kind of a sneak job, you know. It could be something that nobody's looking forward to happening, and all of a sudden it happens. And I've been saying for months that right now we're being taken on an unwanted, ride as boxing fans, as people that's even in boxing. We're being taken for a ride, and we don't know when the ride is gonna stop. We don't know how to get off the ride. I mean, we could pull the emergency brake and just say forget it, and just not watch the sport. But how many people is actually gonna do that? Just not watch the sport, especially if you love boxing. If you love the sport, the engagement of boxers getting together. Now the reason I brought that up is because I was just reading. I was reading in the boxing news. This East Side boxing news, and they mentioned here they were mentioning if the fight is going to take place, the rematch is going to take place in New York, and but now Anthony Joshua is actually he's preferred that it be in Cardiff, because he really he wants those belts, and nobody trusts Cardiff from this area. Nobody around here trusts Cardiff. Ruiz prefers the MGM or New York for the location first, and that's just what's reported in Eastside Boxing News. Yeah, but then they're saying that those aren't like those two locations are like those two locations are the front runners, you know. And only way we can go off anything is we have to go by whatever's reported in old media, new media, whatever. We have to go by what's reported by the companies that are out there doing all the reporting. So, what are we going to do besides that? Because we're not right there with each camp, and we don't know the ins and outs of the promotion game when it comes to the promoters or anything else. We're not right there discussing any kind of promotion and money and stuff like. We're not right there. So we're still taking this information, regardless if we cite our sources, and we're taking the information as as we can. I mean, they're even mentioning that Pacquiao might have another fight with a second fight with Jeff Horn. Right. All right, Cypress here. I'll see you in there. So 979, yeah, that's a good point. There needs to be testing for the. He says there needs to be VADA testing for the fight, regardless of where the fight takes place. Yeah, and you're right about that. It does need to be VADA testing, no matter where the fight is. Well, then again, I don't hang my hat on anything, and people like to hang their hats on stuff. Like, see what we're doing is the whole thing with Royce Floyd brought up. MTM, he brought up the whole idea of even playing ground and voluntary testing and stuff like that. So what they should do, besides even having VADA testing, what they should have independent lab testing, that they should hire reputable testing facilities, ones that that meet the standard, that have real high marks, that have nothing to gain from any type of results, and they just pool them, and then at any given time when it's your turn to give a sample, you have to you choose from A to, I don't know, probably let's go up to A to M, and that's how many companies that they have. And then you have to actually just pull a number or a letter, and then that company is the one that's going to, they're the ones that's going to be testing you, at that time. And at the same time, you're making it voluntary, but it's mandatory at the same time. So it's not really voluntary. We'll just use the word voluntary, because it's voluntary that you go into a random company, but as a reputable company, a good company. For me, that would make more sense. Because the VADA thing, how many of you really trust any of these companies? Any of them? What is it? UDOC? VADA? How many do you trust any of them really? Because once you're in place, and you're in you're in a corrupt environment, what's going to keep you from, becoming corrupt? Yeah. And that's a good question, what you got right there. Because is it voluntary because they have that as a company? Yeah. And then what's crazy about it is that you actually have out there that they could be tricking us in the first. They could be tricking us in the first place, because VADA is supposed to be voluntary, right? And it's supposed to be, are we looking at the right VADA in the first place? Are we looking at the voluntary anti-doping? Is that what we're looking at? Because VADA means other stuff too, so. Yeah. And because it stands for food too, so. And it's kind of ironic that it stands for food, and then who got caught eating bad who got caught eating bad burgers or whatever, bad tacos. You see, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So which Vada are we? Which Vada are we dealing with? Knowing there's a few of them. Yeah. Knowing that there's a few. You know, a few of them. Yeah. Is it Indian food or what is it? Or is it really the testing facility that volunteer voluntary tests? Yeah. No, 'cause you know what? Because I'm not one to really get into the English language like that real deep. You know what I mean? I'm not the one to get into the etymology, all the words, because even if you have the etymology of the words, doesn't mean that you still have the understanding of how the word is being used today. You see, because the way people talk now is a lot different. Yeah, yeah. I chopped up some of that Indian vada and made some serious burritos, man. And before I knew it, I had gained 10 pounds of muscles in 2 weeks. Yeah, you got. Yeah. So, but we'll stick with the regular name for the VADA. Is the voluntary antidote. But we'll stick with that. But that's true though. That's a good point for somebody to bring up because I never had nobody really. I mean, like, could Brandon say, "Well, what is VADA?" I mean, it's a real short to the point question, but it's like wow. I mean, because it's 3 words and it doesn't say what does VADA stand for. It just says what is VADA because VADA could be just anything. And so, just like I just talked about this ride that we're going on, in which this is a nasty little ride if you think about it. Any ride that you're on that you want to exit and you can't, that's not good. And I speak about rides because I did. I went on some. I call myself, being okay with rides, and it wasn't that long ago. It was probably like 6 months ago, something like that. It might have been longer. It might have been a little bit longer than that. That I went. Yeah, I went to the amusement park with my son and his girlfriend or whatever. And boy, they took me on They took me on these rides, and I was like, a lot of those rides I was on, I'm like, is this ride ever gonna end? I want those rides to just be over. I mean, I had fun, but I still wanted the ride to be over because those rides beat you up. If you're not a kid, some of those rides, and you don't even fit into the seats that good, and you feel like you just trapped. And that's how we are. We're just right now. We're just trapped. All right, Laws Dawkins, I see you. He said was good a couple of times. Make sure. Yeah. No, we just right now we were on location. If the Saudi Arabia location was if that's gonna be the location for AJ, but then we're not because they saying that is actually a true possibility. It's actually a true possibility. So, and it very well might be. Yeah. But we have to see how that works out. I'm just writing in here. Yeah. But we're gonna see how we're gonna see what it we're gonna see how it goes though. We're gonna see what if that really pans out because that was in East Side Boxing News, as they're saying that the top point the top areas may be um, Cardiff and then New York City, and then from there we're just talking about as you might see what Brandon Dixon brought up. We were talking about VADA And then he just asked the simple question, "What is VADA?" Because VADA means a whole lot of different things. Because I don't know what the background is of everybody, so I don't know. They might not understand, and that's true too, though. Because think about somebody who's real casual, don't know what VADA. I had some VADA last night. You know what I mean? Because that's how these fans are being picked up now. The fans are so uneducated about everything. Yeah, but you know what? Um, I think about it like this. It may be a thing where it's it may be a money thing to where they don't really, they won't really care about, the outside fans getting there if they can bring in a crowd somehow, because they got some stuff over there close to there. Like they got the Dubai close to there. They got a few cities over there. What is it, Medina? Medina, right? They have a few cities over there. Now we're not gonna say uh, Mecca or something like that, but I think Medina and what's the other one, Raja or something like that. They have a few cities over there just like really, they're populous and they have a lot of money. And that's the whole thing. They got a whole lot of money, because the first thing about boxing, the first thing that you got to realize is that these are prize fighters. They're fighting for a prize. That's the first thing we got to realize, that it's prize fighting. And if you're going to get a bag, who cares about where the bag comes from? If you get a big enough bag, are you going to worry about your are you really going to worry about your fans? Think about it. You got right now you got two fighters in there. That one of them, he really, the new champ, he's happy to have money right now. So anywhere that, right now he's on that money high right now. So anywhere he can get money, you could take him anywhere where he can get the most money. And Joshua needs to make up for some money. So right now, I never heard. Has anybody heard either one of them talk about fans lately? No, they're not talking about fans lately, right? So money's not out of the question. Yeah. But you say laws. He said, yeah, Glass Chin Khan was out there in the in the Middle East fighting a bum, got 7 million pounds. Yep, for it. Yeah, we can think, and a lot of people say, "Oh no, he didn't get the money or whatever." I mean, we never know which door is going to be open, especially when you got a sport that's right now that's kind of volatile right now. You don't know what kind of doors are opening, and we could only pay attention to so much, and all of a sudden there's another door open up. And one if the Saudis are opening up a door. You know what I mean? What if they really are opening up a door, and we sitting here sleeping on it, and then we catch on like it's too late now. Now you caught on, and it's too late that you caught on. Oh man, where were we at? What were we discussing? Because we were talking about something else. And all the while they was opening up the door. Not because you could think about it. How many fights do they have at the MGM now? Are they just constantly having fights there, like mega fights? Right? So we never know. We gotta stay vigilant. We gotta look at all aspects. You know what I mean? Don't just look at just look at the fighters. You know. Look at the whole the sport for what it is. You know, that it is still prize fighting. That's the first one. So that's the first thing. So we're looking at that. Another thing, the second thing I wanted to really talk about was AJ itself. You know, what can AJ do different? What can he do different in this fight? I think I have covered it before, but I like to cover with AJ, with what he's doing that is smart right now that I like. Well, he didn't fire. He's not firing his trainer, but he's bringing somebody else in. Yeah. So he brought somebody else in. I was mentioning that, yeah, that if he didn't get rid of his trainer, that I would bring in another coach trainer to, to more or less add to his training, to, teach his, have his coach, the person the trainer that he's close to, to talk to him, and then to also have that, to add the, new aspects to his repertoire. In other words, to add to whatever skill set he has. Maybe take a few things out for this fight, because in order to win this fight, he's gonna have to make this either an outside fight, which I don't know if because Ruiz is fast and knows how to get in, or he's gonna have to make it just too rough for him. Is what I see. What he has to do is that he has to like push him off, feed him some hard punches as he pushes him off, and just don't let him get in. Just make him eat it, and make him eat through a jab to get in. And every time he get in, if he, yeah, like because everybody said he don't know how to wrestle inside or whatever, or spin. It's not always about wrestling. You could just spin a person around. When they get locked in, just pivot and spin them off. Spin them, push them. I'll do something different to him all the time. Every time he came in, he'll get something else. Hold him down and throw an uppercut. Hold his head down. I'll be putting him in headlocks and, elbowing. I'll rough him up. Because the place that he wants to be is inside. Speaking about Ruiz, he wants to be inside. So you want to make it to where he doesn't want to be where he wants to be. See? And that's what I think AJ could do. He just make him come in to where he doesn't want to be in there. So, since he don't want to be in there, now he's gonna be on the outside, and that's where I want him. So everywhere where he doesn't want to be, all right, Don, I see you. Salute, fam. Yep. So wherever he doesn't want to be, that's where I want him to be. Wherever he doesn't want to be. So if he doesn't want to be on the outside, that's where I want him at. I'm gonna keep him there. He wants to be on the inside, I'm gonna make him not want to be on the inside. And that falls back into what people talk about box. That's part of boxing IQ, or is by you dictating how the fight's gonna go. And he wasn't able to do that in the first fight. He wasn't able to, dictate how the fight went. Ruiz dictated how the fight went. He was kind of dictating because Ruiz got kind of a little careless, took a couple of punches and went down. But he came back with that. He came back with that warrior. He came back with that warrior instinct. See. And that's another. Okay, so when we talk about what Joshua could do, there's a few more things. I might jump a little bit, like, back and forth, because it's kind of it's a big thing in boxing when you talk about the heavyweights. It really is. It's a big thing. It's not as small. No matter who you look at going for, or who you think's going to win, it's not a small thing when it comes to the heavyweights, because the heavyweights, that's our boxing right there. You know what I mean? That is our boxing, is the heavyweights. So everything else falls below the heavyweights. You know what I mean? So we got to understand that. But here's the key for it. Also, that we have to have cleared up with AJ. Yeah, let me read this real quick, and then I'll get back to that point. They say, I assume it would make better financial sense to stage the rematch in Vegas. Yeah, but they the thing about it, Channel 9, and if you stage it in Vegas, if these two are not, yeah, the Mexican community would show up, and a lot of the a lot of the people, the guests and stuff, the high rollers and all that, they have to furnish them with tickets and stuff like that. But it's still going to be it's a lot of factors in there, because it's going to be timing and everything else. You know, the exact date of the fight and all that. You know, if somebody can get off, it's actually going to be a bad time of year, really, for the fight in America. If it's late this year, think about it. It's going to be a bad time of year, because then you're going into the holidays. People love the holidays. People love their Christmases and Thanksgivings and all that. People spend all their money, and I don't know. I just don't know. So that's why I was mentioning earlier that Saudi Arabia thing, it doesn't sound as far fetched to me. Maybe I'm just dumb. It just don't sound that far fetched to me. Yeah. But the time of year and all that, we got to take a lot of things in consideration. Nobody just takes off like, I'm going to see this fight, no matter what. And then it falls on a certain day. Like if it falls like a week before Christmas or something like that, and you're going to spend money for a flight and everything else, then you're like, oh, wait a minute now. You're going to be like, baby, do we got Showtime? Or, yeah, let me get that pay-per-view. And now you're talking about pay-per-view. See? Because one thing, if it's overseas, it's not going to matter as much, because I think because of the timing. But what we're going to get, we're still going to pay. People are still going to pay, though. You think about it. The fans are still going to pay. Yep, they're going to pay. I think, what was it? Who used to, it was Muhammad Ali was the one that used to take the belt everywhere, though. When he used to fight, as a heavyweight, he used to fight everywhere. But a lot of the heavyweights fought a lot of places, but Ali really fought in all different countries. He just fought everywhere. And made the money. When he fought over the Philippines, he made a lot of money over there. He fought in an area that you would think that wouldn't have that much money, but he fought in Kinshasa, Zaire. He made money. Like I said, he was the one that created these. He the one started to develop these big bags, these big bags of money. But AJ, he has to. It's three things that he has to really establish inside. The first thing is the attitude. Do I want to fight? Do I really want to fight? He has to have that. He really has to have it. Not just like, oh, I want to fight. Like you ask somebody and they sound like they're unsure of themselves. Are you sure you want to go back out there and fight? You sure you want to do this? Oh, yeah, I want to do it. What I'm saying? It's certain ways to answer that question. If somebody's asking you if you want to do something, there's certain ways to answer that question, right? And the person that you're answering the question to, they can tell if you want to do something or not, just by the way that you're answering. So that first question, do you want to fight? Yes. Now, the second thing, do you have that warrior spirit to go out there and fight? Because you said you want to fight. Do you have that warrior spirit now? Now, somebody's coming out, because warriors had to fight with different different strategies and different weapons and stuff like that. I carried some representations and stuff into the arena when I dance at different powwows and stuff. And I do have, I have some really made stuff that is some ancient stuff that I have in my possession and stuff. But the warrior is going to do what he has to do. Like, if the other guy's a warrior, he might come out just firing, just going crazy. He's coming straight at you, right? So your warrior mentality's got to be to either fight fire with fire or try a different strategy. So does he have that? You know. And the last thing, so these are the three. These are my opinions of the three things that you need. Is you have to have that the mindset to want to fight. You have to be a warrior in there, and then the last thing on there is you have to be. And we're not talking about this. This is not skills. This is mental. Okay, so we're not talking about skills yet. But mentally, you have to have in your mind. You have to have that killer instinct. And does he have the killer instinct? People say, "Oh, yeah, he got knockouts and stuff." Yeah, but that's not killer instinct, right? If you hit somebody with so many punches, you never know, what knocked their equilibrium off, and you never know what shocked the nerves or the brain, or what touched the core that brain stem. You don't never know what you hit them with to make that short circuit. It might not even been anything hard. Of course, you could follow up with a couple of punches and knock them out. That doesn't mean that you have killer instinct. The killer instinct, you go in with killer instinct. Your killer instinct is like, yeah, I'm taking you out, or I'm beating you. I'm gonna kill you on points, or I'm gonna kill you by knocking you out, or TKOing you, or making your corner throw in the towel, or just making you quit. That's killer instinct in boxing. See. And so if AJ doesn't incorporate those things, then he's in for either a long night or a short night, but whatever night, it's not going to be his night. It's just not going to be his night. It's not going to be good for him. And same thing with Ruiz. Now, what Ruiz needs to do is, I think what Ruiz needs to do is he needs to be able to just, get back inside and just follow up a little bit better than what he did last time. Don't get caught on the outside, but just get inside sooner. Especially if Joshua doesn't have anything to fend him off, doesn't have a jab, or he's not just like throwing a right lead or something like that, or just throwing a straight punch to keep him out, then yeah, just get inside and just start working on him on the inside. But like I said, AJ could know all that if he is trained to do those things like I mentioned earlier. When Ruiz comes in, I'm going to do this to him. He's getting roughed up when he comes in. I'm holding his head down. I'm throwing uppercuts. I'm blocking shots with my elbows, arms, and stuff like that. I'm spinning him around. I'm pushing him off. Just different stuff. Because if you do the same thing over and over, then he'll get used to it. And at the same time, if you do push too much, then the ref will, try to interfere. But I just wouldn't pay attention to nothing. All I would pay attention to is I'm getting this guy off balance so I can get some shots off. And that's what AJ's going to have to do. In my opinion, I don't see it going better for him any other way. You said AJ interview made him sound defeated before Ruiz even touched him. Yep. Yeah, you got to come in, like I said, that's that whole mental part of it. Is you got to come in like you don't care. Like, I don't care what he brings, whatever, I don't care. I don't care if he brings a baseball bat. Whatever he brings, I don't care. I'm breaking it. Whatever he do. And that's the mindset of a champion, a killer champion that's going to just hurt you. I mean, before people start seeing through Tyson had that. And matter of fact, I'm going to put it this way, that AJ had it without speaking, because he had people speaking for him, announcers and different sports experts and stuff like that, and even other professional fighters and other athletes, is because they was amazed at what he looks like. And see, selling that idea had fighters, even though they was fighting, they fight good against them, it still had them worried a little bit. But then Takam kind of exposed him though, right? Because the ref kept, keeping every time he tried to get busy, the ref kept getting in there. And then I think Takam figured that out. Like, wait a minute, now every time I get in there, I know I'm doing some good work in there. And then he so-called got hurt a little bit. Speaking of Takam, he so-called got hurt a little bit, and all of a sudden the fight was stopped. Yeah. But a lot of the fighters, they might not admit it, but they went in there with that same attitude. They went in there thinking, oh yeah, this is a big dude I'm about to fight. They start putting doubt in their own mind, but chances are they would have won. Well, we can always go back to the ref situation too. So the refs might have cost. Well, in my estimation, I don't. Well, a lot of people will argue with me. I think that might have cost Parker the fight. I'm just saying. Get mad, get mad. You know, it's only my message. It's my side. So you can have your side. And you can explain to me why AJ just made a mistake on this one, and that he had a concussion before he went in, and he made all these different mistakes and stuff. But he's so proudful, and seems to be so articulate. So he must have a little bit of intelligence to him. But then he's going to go into a fight like that with a possible soft spot concussion that's not really going to heal properly. But I mean, it's going to heal, but some people maybe can get a harder head. Usually when you're a kid, you can get a harder head. When you get older, your head just gets softer. When you're a kid, yeah, you can crack your head and it can get harder because those bones are still growing together. But yeah, usually you have to crack your head when you're a kid in order for it to get stronger. Usually if your head gets cracked when you're older, then your head is just cracked. But I really don't know. I don't know how to see. I don't really know how to see this fight besides the same way that it went. And that goes for a lot of fights that come up. A lot of these fights that come up, I hear this over and over and over again. Styles make fights, not the fighters, not the boxers. And that's been around they've been saying that for a long, long time. And it does make sense. And I talked about that on my last live. I talked about that the styles do make fights. And it's because what each fighter brings is his own rendition of basic boxing that he learned. His own rendition of like the jab, his own rendition of slipping punches, his own rendition of hooks, uppercuts, counters. He's bringing his own rendition of that. The way he holds his arms up, his hands up, his stance and everything is going to be a little bit different than like what a prototype would be. The robotic or whatever, just the basic boxing. So everybody brings their own style. But what happens, or what's been happening, is these fighters come in and you're like, well, what style is that? That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting you to do this, or you came in and fight, and then we have to shake our head like in disappointment because the fighter came in and he fought just completely different than what we thought he was going to fight. I mean, completely different. It's like you just threw your regular style out because you want to show something. See? And where that really comes into play when a person or a fighter changes the style, it's not that they're actually changing their style, see? Even if they came in and fought one way. It's not that I changed my style. Now, you may have to change your style to win a fight. That's different because you train on certain stuff. Now, you came in fighting the way that you train. But in the back of your mind and all your muscle memory and everything else, you can always revert back to your old style if your new style is not working, but you stick with your new style to see if it works. But what that's called in a fight, what it should be called in a fight, it should be called adjustments. adapting to the other fighter style, and then you're making adjustments. That's what it should be called. It shouldn't be called like you're fighting a whole different style. And when it came to, I hate to say this. Well, I don't hate to say it, but when it came to Shawn Porter, when he fought Ugas, he wasn't making a adaptation to the fight. What he was doing is he actually did change. He changed his style at that point. You know what I mean? That was now that's what you call a style change, and it wasn't a good look for us to look at it. It's like because everybody's like, what are you doing? Everybody wanted to say, wish they could went up to the over to the corner where Kenny was and said, Kenny, what is he doing? What do you got him doing? That's not Shawn Porter. Who is that? Now that's different than a fight where you come out boxing the way you box. Say, wait a minute, I can't get to him with this, so now I got to adapt. I got to change something. You understand? That's a lot different when you change something. Because now I'm changing up everything. I'm changing up my timing and everything else. See how this works. Let me see how this fighter likes this. He's doing this, so now I'm doing this. Now I'm starting to catch him. So now whose turn is it now? Now since this is a chess match, now it's his turn. Now he has to adapt and he has to change what he's doing. You see? And that's the flow. That's the old schools used to say, the ebb and flow of a fight. Is you got one fight up. Those are the best fights too. When you got one fighter, he won this round. Next fighter, he won the next round. Because they keep adapting and changing. It's like, wow, man, dang, this fight is close. Those kind of fights I like. But one thing that we got to also appreciate from the fighters before AJ and before Ruiz, way back, I was in Fanon's boxing. He was talking about fighters way back in the 1700s, like some of the most notable fights. You know, somebody might have arguments with that, but I don't really get into when it's somebody's point. I don't really get into arguing about that point. Yes, it's just something that's really ludicrous or something like that. But I was mentioning one time, what happened was that when boxing first started, everybody knows what the term seconds is. Second. So seconds, that's your corner. And the chief second will be your main coach or your main trainer. And he usually is the one that's giving you all the instructions before you go back out for the next round. But before they put those, before they even gave the chief, before he even had that title, the seconds was like more or less like your lifeline. And when I say lifeline, it's really a derogatory term that I'm using, but it sounds like lifeline. But what the seconds used to do is the seconds used to just get you ready to go fight again. Like, in other words, they would throw your ass back in there because that prize money, and most of the time that prize money, that loser wasn't going to get that. He's not getting much of a bag. So they used to take you and throw your ass back in there. They had up to 2 minutes to get you ready to throw you back in there. So all the contests wasn't no split decisions and stuff like that. All of them ended in KO or exhaustion or something. And that's brutal right there, where you just throwing somebody back in there. Get your ass back in there. You know what I mean? Get back in there. Man, we need to get this money, man. I got to get this. I got to get that. We need food. You know. And that money, they really need that money a lot more desperately then. You know. Especially when you got, when you have families that were separated from, other parts of the family and stuff like that. So they needed that money. Where your relatives wasn't real close. Well, I guess I can go stay with them for a while until I get on my feet. It wasn't that. You had to be on your feet. Let me go in here. I didn't mean to just keep going. Laws Dawkins says, this is great talk. Thank you so much. Said bringing that, bringing that mic. He's giving me some hand salute. That's Don Dada. Ugas won the fight in my eyes. Laws Dawkins. A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying that. Porter Ugas still fight of the year to me. Watch 3 times, 3 different scores. Yeah. And see, that's what it is. See, Don Dada, that's what it is. When these fights are close like that, that's what I like, because then you can have a debate about the fight forever, and you could watch it from somebody else. You could watch it from somebody else's standpoint too. I like them close, but this is what I would like to happen if they're close like that. I would like them to just outlaw like draws. You just add up another round. And if that round ends up in 50-50, then you put another one in there. I'm sorry. It's like we're gonna have a winner. I don't know. People think I'm brutal or something, right? They look. No, he just wants to see somebody hurt. No, they don't. It doesn't necessarily have to end in a knockout, but we just want to see the clear winner. Because that draw stuff it's just frustrating. Because when it's a draw, you're always gonna have opposing views of it. See? Because you're going to have on one hand, oh, I think my fighter won. This guy, I think he won. And you had the other side, I thought he won. But who's really going to say? Because the scorecards are out there. It's a draw. Sorry. So the only thing you can do now is, try to make that money and just run it back. I don't know. I don't really like I don't like a lot of fights to be ran back. And it depends, because it's too much of a, how I'm going to say, it's too much controversy on fights being ran back. If you think about it, it's too much. Because in order to run a fight back, you got to have 2 people that are actually willing to run the fight back with no compromise. But you got fighters that supposed to be running fights back, and there's too much compromise behind them running the fight back, and you never get these fights made. It's like, man, forget it, man. I don't want to see. I don't want to see you. You just had to draw. Just live with it. Just live with it. Or we could just guess. That is give us something to talk about later on. Now we have something else to talk about. We could just talk about who we thought won, even though the official decision was a draw. We just had to give us something else to talk about. But if you got 2 people that's willing, and they just go right into negotiations, and it was a good fight, yeah, I want to see him. I want to see him run it back. But if you waiting months and stuff like that, like the Tyson Fury Wilder, I don't want to see a rematch. I'd rather just stay controversial, and I can say Wilder won, because I'm gonna stick with my opine, is that Wilder won, and we'll just stick with that. And the official ruling was it was a draw. But I'll always be able to have my points on it. But I don't need to see them run it back, because one person wanted to run it back, and one person wanted to run their mouth. And just putting on the front right now. Because I know that Bominator that he got, or those Bominators that Tyson Fury got hit with, made him reassess a lot of things. So now he's fighting somebody that he can't be in danger with. You see? And that takes away from what I talked about earlier. What I just talked about when I brought up those 3 points that you need mentally in order to be in this game. You got to want to fight. You got to have that warrior spirit to go out there and fight. And you got to have that killer instinct. Because it's a little bit different. See, a warrior don't always have to have A warrior doesn't always have to have a killer instinct in all uh, situations. But in boxing, you have to have a killer instinct in all situations. You gotta, you gotta make the ref intervene, or you gotta do something. Now, a warrior can go out and capture you or whatever. He doesn't have to kill you. You don't have to be killed by a warrior. But in boxing, it's different. You got to have that. You got to have that warrior. You got to have that killer instinct. You got a lot of fighters that say they don't have it, but they do. You can tell they get, because they get mean. Anytime a fighter's trying to hit you and you halfway down the ropes, you're already falling, and he's still trying to hit you, that's killer instinct. A lot of people say it's dirty, but it's like, you know what? Yeah, you going down. I'm still hitting you. You know what I'm saying? Until the ref get over here, he's following all the rules and everything, but he still wants to punish you. And that's what you gotta. That's what you gotta have. A lot of fighters don't have that. And we just, that's our, and for me, that's the biggest question mark. I'm not questioning Mark. I'm not really gonna question Mark Joshua's skills in this fight, because we know more or less what he brings to the table. But the thing about it is, those three things that he needs to bring, will he bring those? And this new trainer, because we're not training them, so are they going to add these other aspects, to his technical style? Are they going to add those? And if they add those, we're good. If they don't add them, then, like I said, it's going to be a long night for him. It's not going to be a long night for us, but it's definitely going to be a long night for AJ. And then he's going to be without those belts, because he's saying that he, how much he loves those belts. That I got to get my belts back. Well, you got to prove to us that you really want to get those belts back. I don't want to name call, because he's been called enough names and stuff like that. But I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw him, even before the fight, and when I saw interviews and everything else, and I haven't even trained. I train. I do a little bit of. I've been lazy lately though, but I do a little bit of elliptical, and I do a little bit of weights and resistance and stuff like that. I used to do so many different sports. I used to be in and out of different sports. I'll do one sport at the same time. I'll be trying to do 2 or 3 other sports. Because I learned how to power lift, so I was doing power. I did power lifting, and then I don't know. I just stopped that. I didn't have nobody to spot me for most of the time. I was doing too much weight, and they was like, "Man, how you doing all that weight? No juice and nothing like that." But yeah. But we're gonna see. Now we're gonna see, which AJ comes in, and like I said, I don't want to. I know people they say a lot of things about him. You guys know the word, the names that they call AJ. I respect fighters, because a lot of them, you got to go through a lot to become a fighter, even to become an amateur fighter. You might have to take a lot of beatings, and a lot of these guys don't even make it into the amateurs, or when they get in, or even get out of amateur. A lot of people wonder why they never turned pro. It's because their style didn't allow them. They might have been good as a pro, but their style didn't allow them to get past the amateurs, because amateur fighters still hit hard. Don't think just because you say amateur, don't think that they don't hit hard just because they're amateur. Because you got to realize some of the greats started off as amateurs. And if you think somebody like George Foreman didn't hit hard as an amateur, I feel bad for your knowledge on boxing. All of us don't. I've been out of this. I have always wanted to have to speak boxing and stuff like that, because I've been out of it. I still talk to some of the older guys in boxing and stuff like that. But I've always wanted to just talk boxing and stuff like that. I've even talked to some people about I said, man, I should have trained you, man, when you fought. Like I said, like for instance, I bring up a name, I'm not gonna tell who it is, but I told the guy, I said, yeah, I should have trained you when you fought Tyson, or I should have trained you when you fought Foreman or something like that. I have the conversation with some people. They say, yeah, man, and it's kind of funny, but yeah, AJ is. We're gonna see. We're gonna see what the new trainer has. We're gonna see what AJ has. And hopefully he's going to, hopefully when he comes into this one, he does, he does some justice. Because like I said, I'm not against any of them. I respect all of them because I know that a lot of times you might not make it through boxing, through amateurs. You might not even make it through. But I still salute you because I know what you went through, and then there's other profiles or other situations where people just don't turn pro because of other things. It's just like we all meet these different athletes. Oh, excuse that noise in the background. Stupid dumpsters being picked up. Yeah, but we all grew up with people that we say, oh man, I knew a guy that was faster than that. I knew a guy that could jump higher than that, but they end up on the streets or something else. So we always know athletes. So you still, just the ones we got. We just take the ones we got. If they do something stupid, or then sometimes you have to say what you got to say. I know AJ. He's kind of easy to, to not like. But after getting beat up, then you kind of feel like, what? I don't want the guy to be, completely damaged goods. So if he makes so, we'll say hopefully he makes it out of this one and he's not damaged goods. And that's about all I got. I try to stay close to an hour, but these chats, they go, even if nobody's really like asking questions or commenting. These chats the time really burns up on these things, like that hour or so really. I mean, it really burns up quick. You guys got anything that you want to add? I'll verbalize it for you, or vocalize it for you. Yeah. All right. I just got a notification from K. I guess KQKC came up with something. Yeah, I know Shadow 9. It does, huh? It just the time flies by. Yeah, it does. The time flies by. I'll read this for you guys right now. It says KQKC Boxing uploaded. It says Boxing Talk. Horn could put a wrench in Arrow's motor of unification. And he just did that I thought he was going somewhere because he told me he was going somewhere, so he couldn't make the chat. But I guess he just put something up right before he left to go do what he had to do. So maybe he put something up. Yeah. So I'll find out what that is. Yeah, time. Like I said, time be going. Yeah, time goes quick. Great discussion today, sir. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, Brandon. We get. That's all we get, man. We get like about an hour. I try not to, because I've been following what everybody else does. Everybody else, we do it like about an hour because you don't want to try to get, too far out there into somebody else that somebody else might want to discuss. For me, it's not even for everybody. It's usually LDBC channels. But anybody who's speaking of the same sport, I mean, if they go on the same time I go on, then then they just go on the same time that I go on. But what I don't want to mess. I really don't. I mean, we're talking about the same something that's common. Maybe I want to get off so I can go up there and I can listen to what you're saying. Oh, look at Ivy then snuck up in here. I see you. I see you. All right, where's your blue suit at? You supposed to have blue when you came in here. And yes, you didn't subscribe or something. I don't know. I had modded you up, or maybe you modded on my. Maybe you're modded. Oh, you are now. Or maybe you was modded on my other channel, my Many Kind Hearts. It's, I had to change it to my other native name. I had to change it to Many Kind Hearts because they were mixing up. Yeah. Okay, you just gotta thank you for subscribing by Streamlabs. Yeah, Streamlabs is my wrench too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fun. That's funny. Yeah, I had to change my other name. I had to change. I had to take the eagle. I had to take the eagle face down because they were mixing it up. Even uh, my first my first live actually went to my Many Kind Hearts page. My first live when I was talking boxing. When I finally got up and was able to talk boxing, and then after that, I mean, it's just I had to fight and fight, and I'm like, man, what I got to do to get my videos on the right page, and I finally got them. So now we're working. Only thing we're working now is our CPU usage. So I don't put the video on. I'll try it over the weekend. If I do a live over the weekend, then I'll put the well, not for my native or my other channel. For that, if I'll do live, that's gonna be I'll do it on the forum will be just a little bit different, and that's gonna be on probably on my iPad, something like that, or the phone. The iPad was kind of shaky last time because I was doing business at the same time that I was trying to video record. Yeah, but yeah, you kind of came in late, Queen. My treasure, you came in a little bit late on this one because yeah, we talked about the location of where AJ's gonna fight Ruiz, and I really don't think it's out of the question. You know what I mean? I don't really think it's out of the question that AJ will fight in Saudi Arabia. It's not out of the question. That was in the East Side Boxing News that I was reading, and then I start adding things up. It's because the time of year that they're going to fight is actually a bad time for people to spend money, because I mean, I don't celebrate. Yeah, I don't really celebrate the holidays and nothing like that. So, but a lot of people deal with these holidays, got to buy gifts and all that. Oh, I appreciate you, Ivy. See, I definitely watch the replay. Yeah, just watch the replay. It'll probably be up. It'll probably take about 20 minutes or so, something like that. I don't know. These things, sometimes it's really slow for these things to really get uploaded after stream. It got to be edited down a little bit. I'm not gonna edit, but I still gotta do it. I'm not gonna edit any content, but I still have to edit some things on there. But it'll be up. Well, I just want to say I do appreciate everybody coming through, and like you guys said, the time does burn up, and when I get this definite time, I'll try to, maybe I have to go through the discussion a little bit, a little bit faster. Everybody has to get used to coming to my page, to my channel. It's not a lot of I don't have a. It's actually more people that's in here. There's more the people that are actually writing in the chat. There's actually more people in here. It doesn't really show how many people's really in here. It's really just showing everybody who's active. So you guys are active, and there's no, even if there is a troll, they see all this blue in the room, so they're not going, they're not going to try nothing. See, just like I told you, see, E. Woodson in here. But I don't know if they just got notification. And see, that's another thing with that notification thing. I don't know if it's that notification just getting everybody or not. So, because it may be that notification just getting everybody that they just get the notification too late, and then I'm about to wrap it up, and then people start coming in. Because I was doing a test stream one time, and I believe it was I think it might have been Shadow Nine and E Wood and them Cypress all yeah Cypress Hill all of them start coming in, during my a test stream, and so the discussion that I wanted to have, I ended up having that discussion anyway. That was about Tank, but I think that's on my that may be on my Many Kind Hearts page. Oh, okay. I see you, Ivy. You said you was busy, but you got some time to check out your live. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, because matter of fact, everybody who's actually active right now, that's actually active in the chat, they're all familiar. I think all you guys are pretty much familiar with each other, at least a little bit. Yeah, I don't see anybody in here that nobody's not familiar with. You guys familiar with Brandon? Yeah, I think Brandon was first in my stream yesterday. So yeah, but I told everybody, I said, you know what? Right now, I'll pick up the people that I need to, for as like modding them up or whatever. So I mean, when it's time, the people that I have in here, I trust that they know how to smack somebody around if they need to. Whereas somebody else might not. They'll just sit there with it. It's just more or less for their protection when somebody starts getting smashed on. Yeah, but all we can do is hope. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not worried about being early days. I just like for a few people to come through and be able to, if they come through and I can discuss, and I'm not seeming like I'm just a moron or something like that. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And that's part of the discussion too. I mean, so far I haven't had like, I haven't had like people just disagreeing or whatever, or they have a different opinion. But I've never had nobody just told, oh, you don't know nothing about boxing or nothing like that. You don't know shit about boxing. Well, that means nobody in my family does, because I had to learn in the boxing family. So yeah, yeah. But so far, everybody's been pretty much happy. But with time comes controversy. With time comes trolls, and with time comes the thumbs down and whatever. You guys give me thumbs, but hopefully you guys gave me thumbs up. So hopefully I don't have a bunch of, when I go to edit and stuff, and once the video's finally posted, I see nothing but thumbs downs, and I got nothing but 100% in here, and everybody happy in here. That ain't gonna be nice. I be like, wow, look like my people, they not nice. Yeah. Shell 9, he said, once you get bigger, that's when the fanboys and trolls will start coming through. Yeah, yeah, they come through. Well, see, the thing is, like I said, you're active in the chat, right? So it shows me who's active in the chat, right? So a lot of them come in, they still come in, but they just trying to get like, they don't know the chat. Even if it's not that big, they still come in because they start hitting KQ up. I think before he hit 1,000, they was coming in there. But he had mods waiting on him. Yeah, before he hit 1,000, they was coming in there. But see, they had to get familiar with him. They're not really familiar with me yet. They got to find something to hate first. I don't know if I've done enough for somebody to hate yet. But once I've done enough for them to hate, and then that's when they'll start coming in and dropping bombs. They'll come in and start dropping the hate bombs. But right now they just don't. They're not gonna drop hate bombs yet. You know what I mean? I'm not looking forward to it, but they will. It's okay. It goes with the territory. You know what I mean? We get what we get. But again, I just like I said, I appreciate everybody stopping through. If you came in late, just check out some of the replay or check out the whole replay. You know, it's been more than 2 minutes. I think I had more than 2 minutes of good things to say. Yeah, so at least stay a couple years, stay at least 5 minutes. Just skip through if you have to, but yeah, it should be up probably no later than half hour now because I've been running a little bit. So uh, with with that ending right there, I'd like to say like I do all the time. I say shout out to the LDBC and shout out to all y'all that mess with me. All right, I'll see y'all. Peace.